Hello and welcome to healthyhouseplants.com, where we teach you all about gardening in the great indoors. If you'd like to support our show, please use our Amazon affiliate link below. Today we are going to do a plant care video on goldfish plant. I love this plant. It is so exciting when you get the little goldfish looking like blooms there. As you can see here, it does look like a little goldfish. Very cool plant. There's some more over here as well, and we have some budding going on for some new ones in here. So you can see that there. So it is very exciting to grow this plant, especially when you get the blooms. Any blooming plant indoors is really fun because it's, let's face it, there aren't as many houseplants as you can grow that flower. There are quite a few, but not as much as you can get outside where there's tons of things blooming, right? So any plants that bloom indoors and have a really lovely look to them, I absolutely love. This is such a nice plant too because it has shiny foliage naturally. So it just really pops in your indoor garden, and then when it gets those pretty flowers on them, it's just magnificent. So I'm going to talk to you about how to keep this beauty nice and healthy and happy in your indoor garden. So this is, as mentioned, the goldfish plant, and the botanical name for it is Columnea gloriosa, and I would agree with gloriosa, meaning glorious. It gets its name, as mentioned, from the orange little flowers that it gets. And however, even if when it isn't blooming, it still is gorgeous. So in order to keep this plant healthy, first of all, you want to provide it with good lighting. So it does like a medium high to high light, however indirect light. So this isn't a real good candidate, like a lot of houseplants aren't, for growing in front of a western window. You really want to have this plant in another type of a window that will get it some light but not get it too harsh of a light. So that being said, eastern exposure works really well. However, you may need to supplement with some full spectrum lighting during the shorter days of the year. Full spectrum lighting, these plants love to grow under. Full spectrum lighting simulates daylight. It comes in all kinds of bulbs and fixtures, and even there's lights with full spectrum lighting built in. So I would definitely recommend looking into getting some full spectrum light bulbs for your fixtures or lighting systems to get this plant to not only grow really healthily, but also to get beautiful blooms on it, because it needs that light not only to be healthy, but to bloom for you as well. Okay, so lighting, you got that under control. Watering appropriately. This plant does like to be kept on the moist side, but you don't want to overwater and keep it very heavily laden with water. So you want to use a moisture meter. What I would suggest with this plant is when the plant is showing on the moisture meter, the soil is showing around a 4, then go ahead and water the plant. If you're using the finger test, it would be about especially in this size plant, about the first ½ inch or so of soil has dried. Smaller plants, you may want to go to 1/4 inch or so. When that's dried out, then go ahead and water. Always use warm water for your house plants. I have videos on that. It's very important. You'll get root dieback, you could get root rot, you can get spotting on the leaves, you can get leaf loss if you use cold water, especially in the winter months. So use a warm water when you water. Make sure that this plant is susceptible to root rot, so make sure that it is not sitting in a dish full of water where the roots are soaking up constant water, because that will create root rot. So keeping it moist but not soggy. So that's important for healthy goldfish plant and all house plants. Now, you do want to fertilize this plant on a fairly regular basis, especially if you want to get the blooms. So fertilize this plant once a month, except for December in January. That's when the plant will slow down some growth. We are in December right now, and these buds had been building up in the fall months. So I've got the nice bloom on it, but I won't be fertilizing this plant until probably early mid-February or so. I do have an organic food, my Green Gourmet Houseplant food, which is a really good thing to use because it's organic and it's a nice gentle fertilizer to give you really good growth and really good flowering. So it's something to keep in mind. You can also use liquid fertilizers. Just whenever you do fertilize any houseplants, and these guys too, don't over fertilize. So don't think, oh, I'll do double the strength and that'll make it get more blooms, because that will just cause problems with the plant, including making too high of salts in the soil, and that can lead to root dieback, and it's not going to lead to more flowering. So make sure to follow package directions, and you can even err on the side of a little bit less. So even doing half strength once a month is also good if you don't want to, make sure that you don't over fertilize. That's a good thing to do too. Okay, so repotting, you want to repot these guys after 2, 3, 4 years or so, 4 years max. Use a water retentive soil, but that also drains well. So if you have a pretty good retentive soil that's keeping moisture, but doesn't have a lot of drainage in it, such as perlite or pumice. I do have a pumice product. Put the link below. Then add some additional perlite or pumice to the soil so that it drains well. So that good mix of moisture and nutrient retentive as well as well draining, because healthy roots need moisture and they need some air, and that's why you need the good drainage. Okay, now these plants do like humid conditions. So a good thing to do is to go ahead and give them moisture, some extra moisture, some extra humidity. You can go ahead and spray them, mist them throughout the day. I have a video on that. That's not enough though, so that's just a little addition to it. A good thing to give some more moisture to is a humidity tray. I have videos on how to create those, and that will give more moisture. And then putting plants together, so the more plants you have, they humidify each other. That's another great way to get some more humidity. So do keep an eye on that. They will tend to drop leaves if you're doing everything right and you're fertilizing, you're watering, but they're continuing to drop leaves. It may be because it's just not humid enough. Try using a hygrometer if that is the case as well. That will tell you the humidity you want to see for this plant. Ideally 50-60% humidity. If you're much lower than that, 45 it could do too, but if you're much lower than 50% humidity, the plant is going to start having problems with too low of humidity. Moving the plant into somewhere like a bathroom where it gets sporadic humidity will also help as well. Temperature wise, this plant needs 65 to 80 degrees throughout the year. So a little bit on the warm side, and that's another consideration. So during the winter time, if you may want to check around the house to see, with the hygrometers come with they have the temperature as well as the humidity, so you can tell the temperature and humidity. I'll put a link below for some good hygrometers there, and that will give you some good information. So maybe you move the plant, and you find out, okay, I'm getting more warmth, but now the humidity's gone, so it will have gone down. So you can move it around to get the best place for the plant. So moving it may be what you need to do to keep this plant happy and healthy. And then again, you may not. So it's one of those things just to keep an eye on. So that they don't tend to get many problems with pests. So that is a really nice thing. The thicker leaves, They have thicker leaves that the pests don't tend to go to. However, you may occasionally see mealybugs. If you do, I have videos on how to control that. Giving them a nice bath periodically will also help keep away any pests or diseases and keep the humidity level up for the plant as well. And that is it for growing goldfish plant, this lovely plant that will really light up your indoors and is really fun to show people when you get your little goldfish-like flowers on the plant. Thank you for stopping by today. Please leave any comments about any indoor gardening tutorials you'd like to see. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. And please check the bell if you'd like to be notified when new videos are released.